Welcome back to F1 2017, and you join me for Season 3, the British Grand Prix. Home race for driver, moi, and team Mclaren. We're powered by Honda, but we'll gloss over that temporarily for this one. Naturally, it's the home race, and the hometown hero always wants to do well in the home race, but we'll need to see how it goes. Things didn't go as planned last time out in Austria. A two-stop strategy cost us a better result. I'm not going to say a win, but a better result, I feel. But nonetheless, we will go into qualifying. This is our second run of the session. Our first run put us 8th. And you can see here, much like current British summer, beaming sunshine as we cross the start-finish line to go on to our qualifying lap. So here we go, flat through the right-hander as we go up through the first sector, through the loop, as it were, braking hard, get the nose in nice and tight, keep it, swing it out wide again as we try and bring it back onto the apex and get on the power nicely as we now accelerate up through the flat left-hander and on to, I forget the name of the straight, I do apologise for the lack of professionalism. Nonetheless, we will now come in through Woodlands or Woodcut. No, Woodcut's the next corner. I have forgotten every name of the British Grand Prix circuit since it got renamed. Anyway, through Luffield, we're over a 10th up on our best time. We got the much better run through Luffield that time around. Now we're through Woodcut corner, and we're now speeding up towards Cops. There we go. Flat out through the right-hander, dipping just below 190 miles an hour on exit through turning them maggots. Keep it flat through the first two parts, and then Beckett bring the speed down. We've gone a little bit wide through the final part, then through Chapel. And we now come on to the Hangar Straight as we now head up towards Stowe. It's going to go up ever so slightly, braking 200 miles an hour, hitting the curb slightly, bringing it in nicely, tapping the inside curb on the power early, go out ever so slightly, braking at the 100-metre board as we come through to Vale. And now through Club Corner, slightly different to what it used to be, slightly tighter on the exit. We're nearly 8 tenths up on our best. It puts us P5 and ahead of Alonso. I felt, honestly, that was a mighty lap, considering a few of my components were yellow. Fernando did improve, but for us to be within a tenth of Alonso, yeah, I was impressed considering the circuit. But the two Mercedes, Bottas heads Hamilton, Vettel heads Raikkonen, and then the two McLarens, then a Force India of Perez in 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Ocon 9th, Massa down in 10th, Verstappen down in 13th place. An awful qualifying for Max. But no, I felt like my lap was very good. I mentioned on Saturday we had some lovely clear skies for qualifying and some very not British weather. We got some very British weather for the Grand Prix. It was chucking it down. Intermediate conditions for the whole Grand Prix. Not really much else to say. There's no real point in doing any kind of additional pit stops. I know I mentioned last time out we were going to probably look to go to the one-stop strategy. We're kind of being forced into it here with this particular example. But anyway, we build with the lights for a wet British Grand Prix. 5 lights. Heads are out and away we go for the British Grand Prix. We were held for a long old time there. Our second phase of the start has not been very good. We're going to get attacked by Perez into the first corner. Hamilton's completely sideways. Let's go off the circuit, fight the car through to keep it there. But we're on the grass very slow through turn 1. Bottas and Vettel have got a huge lead. Hamilton, though, was completely sideways coming out of turn 1. We were completely sideways there on the exit of turn 3, and we're fighting the car. I had put some low downforce on. Obviously, I've put less fuel in the car to weigh it down less, and obviously we can save during this wet weather period. But Bottas and Vettel with a huge lead over me. We come across the line. We're 4.7 behind Vettel already, and we've got a huge gap to Raikkonen. Let's have a replay of the start just here. What the hell happened to Lewis Hamilton? We're going to come through turn 1, and is it contact with the Ferrari? We couldn't see from that angle, but you see there, and then Raikkonen and Alonso have both hit Hamilton, so they've got front wing damage. We had to go very wide, and you can see here once again just going, and you see turning the opposite way mid-corner. Let's go on board with the man in question, Lewis Hamilton. So let's see what happens in relation to his teammate. Valtteri Bottas. So off the start, initially responds better to the lights, but Bottas' start was better as he's pulled away a little bit more. We see the Ferrari on the left-hand side, and it is contact. The back of Hamilton's front left tapped the front of Kimi's rear right tyre, and you see Hamilton there with a bit of damage. One of the Ferraris came through and just clouted him as well. That was Raikkonen there, so unfortunate, but you know, is what it is. So at this point, it's Bottas leading the way from Vettel. They're both setting the pace in the high 44s. We're going to come across the line end of lap 2 with a 46.1, so we're immediately 1.5 seconds off the pace. Exactly what I want to say, but we have built a gap there to Fernando Alonso, and it's about seeing, obviously, full length of the Grand Prix, about protecting the tyres and just seeing what we can do. But it was very slow at this stage of the Grand Prix. You just see me just crawling through the loop at 50 miles an hour there, just, yeah, not the best sort of speed. So we get on with lap 4 now. Vettel's dropped off from Bottas, and you see Raikkonen there at 43.9, so Kimi at the back of the field just charging here. We're only 3.6 behind Vettel, so he has slowed down quite astronomically, which is surprising. By the end of lap 4, we have caught the Ferrari man, so I don't know if he's got some kind of problem with his car. I mean, we set a personal best lap of the Grand Prix, but that's only just put us in the 45s. We're still 2 seconds off of Kimi Raikkonen's pace, which is obviously what Vettel should be looking to do, but he's very slow at this point of the Grand Prix, so we're closing up to him in the first sector. Try not to make any unnecessary moves, because with the way the car's handling in these current conditions, I don't want to do something that it doesn't like, and then it results in me smashing into Vettel and having to change my front wing. So we're going to get up behind him down the Wellington Straight. I remembered the name of it. Get a bit of slipstream as we come up behind him through Pryor, I think. I honestly, I'll try and remember the names. I think I've just named like Matt Pryor. No. Anyway, we fight Vettel through Luffield because we're having to fight the car through the long corners because of the setup that we've got. But we're ahead of him, and that now puts us in second place behind championship rival Valtteri Bottas. And by sort of lap 6, Vettel has just completely disappeared. He's got absolutely no pace at this point in the Grand Prix. But you can just see I'm, again, just wrestling the car through the corners. It really wasn't beneficial for this to be a wet race for me. I do feel as if my race pace would have been good in the dry, but I'm already 13.2 seconds off the back of Bottas, and I'm 16 seconds ahead of Alonso. But later on into lap 7, a safety car is called. I'm not 100% sure why that happened, as I don't believe there were any retirements. But this resets the race, puts us in a better position. So now that the field is bunched up, we've got Valtteri Bottas. Cars made pit stops around this point. So Bottas leads, has not pit. I'm in second place, has not pit. Esteban Ocon up in third, has not pit. Fernando Alonso in fourth, had not pit. A lot of guys like your Vettels, your Ricardos had made a pit stop. So we need to watch out for them later on in the Grand Prix. But the Grand Prix is going to get back underway, and racing continues on lap 10. Bottas drops the lower pedal. I was just behind him, but I got up on the curb, causing some wheel spin, and that meant that I was not able to stick with him and potentially send one down the inside there of Vale. So Bottas through club corner pulls out a bit of a gap as we cross the line. It's 0.8 of a second, and the team inform us that we are due very soon. Ocon continues to hold third position, and it's about us. Can we stay with Bottas during the pit stop phases? Because the Grand Prix here, in the pit lane is very long. I'm tripping over all of my words. I do apologise. But yeah, we need to try and stick with Valtteri Bottas through the pit stop phases here, and just see if there is a way we can look to attack him later on. By the end of lap 11, he hasn't actually gained too much on us. It's Esteban Ocon that's dropping back from us, and Alonso holding up the field, but Bottas still setting the pace, and we're still just under a second off of his speed. And you know, it's in a battle of longevity, you know, when they're doing nearly a second a lap quicker than you, it doesn't exactly bode well and give me much confidence. But the car slowly, as we went on, started to feel more planted. At the end of lap 14, Bottas has gone into the pits. He had built up a bit of an advantage. Esteban Ocon followed him in, and so did fourth place man. So at this point, I've gone out for a further lap on my worn tyres. I now need to do the best possible in-lap and hope and pray that Valtteri Bottas gets stuck in traffic. Obviously, the only cars he's really going to get stuck behind are the guys that had done two-stop strategies, which are going to be guys like Vettel and Ricciardo, so not exactly slow cars. And in fact, Vettel is now up into second place, and we'll see Daniel Ricciardo up into third, but they are a long way back from ourselves. But will they hold up Bottas time will tell. We're going to use this time to go up to Rich and put pedal to the metal, as it were. As we come through the first sector, though, we are half a second down on our best lap. Not what we need to do, but as we come up to Maggots and Beckett's here, we're going to need to try and take these as cleanly as possible, because we can't attack them anywhere near the way we did in my qualifying lap, but nice and neat and tidy. And we're going to come across the sector split, and we're only a tenth and a half down on a personal best. I am definitely going to be coming in this lap, though. So here we go, end of lap 15. We're very slow, just actually get it down to the speed limit. And now here's where we see what I'm talking about the Silverstone pit lane. Bear in mind, Austria, right? 17.7 was one of our pit stops in the Austrian Grand Prix, and that was with service. We've hit that right now, and we've just pulled into our pit box. Vettel sets the fastest lap on a 43 flat. He's gone into the lead of the Grand Prix. He's got a big old gap to Daniel Ricciardo there, who filters now into second. Perez up into third place just there. Bottas is in fifth. Looks like he's had some lovely clean air, so he hasn't been held up at all. And then Grosjean and Hülkenberg get past us. Total pit lane time of 36.8 seconds. That's nearly 20 more seconds than it was in Austria, so that's horrifically painful. We're out in P7. We've got a big old gap to Ocon, who we know is on the same tyre strategy as ourselves. What's going to happen at the end of lap 16? We have caught up to Grosjean and Hülkenberg. They peel off to the right-hand side, so they're in the pit lane, as is the other three cars who have already made a pit stop in this Grand Prix, around the safety car. So no idea what they're doing on that sort of strategy, but that frees Bottas on a 42.5 to go into the lead of the Grand Prix. We are, I don't know, 6 seconds back, 11. I don't know how far back we are from Valtteri Bottas at this point. We'll get a better reading of that as we cross the first sector, but you can see I'm pushing hard, and that obviously calls us there to cut turn 1 and part of turn 2. I just wanted to leave that in just to show a demonstration of how hard we were still pushing to try and close up to Bottas. And as we now come around Copse Corner on lap 18, we're actually going to get some news in relation to Bottas.
Okay, some information on Bottas. They have some kind of mechanical problem.
So, just what I needed. Bottas slowing down, mechanical problem. We now need to get the foot down. We have a lap fresher, intermediate tyres compared to Bottas. Gap is 7.5 seconds, and we are on for a personal best lap of the Grand Prix. We're going to come across the line now. Gap is 6.7 seconds. We do a 43.4 with a personal best of over a second. Let's catch Valtteri. We now get asked by Jeff as we close the gap to 4.9. The rain was getting a bit heavier. They were concerned about the Inter. It felt okay. I was saving fuel. End of lap 20. Gap to Bottas is down to 2.7 seconds, and our pace was consistent. And we just needed to keep closing in on him. And depending on how long it took for Mercedes to fix the issue that he had, as we come across the first sector split of lap 21, gap has built to 3.1 seconds. So, but the first sector is where I am fairly weak. So let's sort of see what it is through the middle sector. I wouldn't be surprised if a tiptoeing and a wailing or an issued Bottas does gain time on me in the first sector. But we cross that split now. It's 3 seconds flat. We've set a purple middle sector.
And our gap to the car in front is 3.0 seconds. You're gaining by 2 seconds a lap. They're on old Inters. The time last lap was a 1:45.6.
So there's some news in relation to Bottas as we now close up through the final sector. I mainly asked him to see if he confirmed if Bottas still had a mechanical problem. What's his time as he crosses the split where we set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on a 42.5. We do a 43.2. 7 tenths off. Gaps up to 3.4. And that's all I needed to see. That completely broke my spirit. Bottas's issue has been resolved. Not much point in pushing forwards anymore and wrecking the car when second place is now off the cards. Sure, he could have another problem, but I think it's gone at this point. We've got 16.5 seconds back to Esteban Ocon. You know what? Let's just nurse the car home. As we come to the end of lap 23, Bottas does a 42.5. So just continue to pump in those fastest laps of the Grand Prix. And by lap 26, I just backed off. 42.3 on the final lap. Bottas asserting his dominance, showing there we only got close due to an issue. But we're going to come home. I've stuck it in lean for the last 5 laps. Just took care of the car, took care of the parts. You know, it's still going to be a decent result as we now come through Club Corner. It's second place and a podium at our home Grand Prix.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
And here are our podium drivers. today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes, then, are on top today.
So you have it, Valtteri Bottas wins the British Grand Prix. Unfortunate, but pole to flag wasn't quite easy, as some of you may thought. And then we come home, like I say, I just eased off at the end of the Grand Prix. I was in like the 46s at the end. 20-second gap to Bottas. We dropped 7 points to him there, unfortunately. Vettel getting Ocon by 0.03 of a second. Vettel must have got him on traction out of Vale through club. So Vettel stealing a podium there after he made 2 pit stops. Ocon, decent performance in fourth place for the Force India, coming up from 9th. And Verstappen, even after his shocking qualifying, making the use of the one-stop strategy there. 13th to 5th, decent result from Max. Hamilton down from 2nd to 6th, again with the 2-stop there. Daniel Ricciardo, 8th. He still improved on his grid position, but definitely could have gone better if he did the one-stop. Magnussen making use of the one-stop, up from 14th to 8th. Then Perez and Raikkonen round out the top 10. Raikkonen had pace at the start, but then dropped off. So you can see there, with the 7 points we dropped to Bottas, that puts Bottas 20 points behind us. So we've now lost that comfort of being a whole Grand Prix victory ahead. It does appear to be the two of us streaking away from the two Ferrari drivers there. Unfortunately, with Vettel now 55 points back from us, and Kimi just 5 further points back. In the constructor standings, Mercedes actually now draw level with Ferrari, so now both teams now only 12 points behind us. So we need to get back on form to prevent any more losses of points, because like I've said it before and I'll say it again, I want to bring both championships back to McLaren in season 3. So we're gonna need to see how that goes as we now move into the second half of the season, because the British Grand Prix was of course round 10. Disclaimer: I did have a contract event, but very similar to the end of season 3. It was like, oh, would you like to go to Mercedes, Ferrari, or Red Bull? No. As much as I would love to, just kick Bottas out of his seat and go and win the championship with Mercedes. No, we're seeing this out with McLaren. Season 3 is the final season of this year's game, so I need to win the title. There's no ifs, no buts about it. I need to win the title this year. But guys, thank you very much for watching, and I do hope you have enjoyed the British Grand Prix of Season 3. Leave a like if you did, and comment any feedback down below. Second place in our home Grand Prix, it's okay. You know, you see a lot of guys. I mean, Button was never on the podium in his home Grand Prix. Hamilton's won it a good few times. Coulthard as well. Technically, the British Grand Prix was his home race. I don't know if he ever won it personally, but there you go. So second place for us. Next time it's Hungary, which is a circuit I know we rarely have pace at, considering our car sucks on straights. You'd expect us to be better around there, but no. So I'm not really looking forward to that one, but we do, of course, have the second half of the season, and if it's anything like the first half, who knows what's going to happen. We had a big old string of podiums, and our worst result is the 7th place, which we got, obviously, last time out in Austria, but I'll leave it there. I will see you all next time for the Hungarian Grand Prix. You see, I mixed up the outro there. You weren't expecting it, were you?